Well, the YCSs. Now, what are our top 10 decks for October 2025? And make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that Fire King button so you guys don't miss out on more OS content. I was going to put Odeon here, but I realized for all intents and purposes that Odeon is still a rogue deck. Winning 15 out of your 16 dice rolls is variance. So I wanted to put Fire King here because I've been seeing Fire King actually having a great uptick in playability right now because of the Draco package. It's given, this deck kind of new life, obviously. Like Mitsurugi, this deck has the ability to do board wipes and basically be able to control what the opponent's trying to do. And I think that's kind of one of the more important scenarios that you get the chance to see with a deck like Fire King being, borderline on the side of the top end here. So, board wiping, Draco meteors, every single time that you can manipulate them, it does get very, very chaotic. Orcust. So, Orcust has been performing decently well on the regional level, and one actually creaked through in the top cut at the YCS. I will be honest with you, though. If you do not play around what this deck is trying to do, you're going to find yourself in a very, very bad position. The ability to take control of an opponent's monster and have Crescendo as power cards are the reason why Orcust still kind of remains in this very formidable spot, because you're just like, wow, this stupid deck just does so much. And also, it has link climbing shenanigans, which usually ends up being a pretty broken mechanic for what a deck like this wants to do. So, yeah, also turning everything into quick effects, getting the spot removal, people not actually playing back row removal, it gets a little bit rough. Vanquish Soul. So, we've had enough time to see how much losing Stake Your Soul and losing some of the other potential power cards in the meta has actually kind of shaked things up. And realistically, at this point in time, we're still doing fine. You just have to kind of supplement it. Do you want to play like Impulse and Fire Attack, or do you want to, play Curry Card? Are you trying to supplement the Fire package in a degree, or are you just going to go with the one Rosin, the triple Jiaolong, the triple Ash? Either way, whatever package and engine or, whatever manipulation you're trying to do, we still have the full Canine package. You're still able to do everything that you want to with the level 5s. You can just take your opponent's monsters now off of the Holly Sue. It's the brainwash mechanic that ends up being much more important in the long term for you. So we're looking pretty good here. Lunalights. This deck broke, I think, a lot of the community over the weekend. Just seeing, the competitive results turning in from players. Because all I was constantly seeing was people complaining on social media about, I just got 2-0 by Lunalight. Who's still playing this garbage? Well, people that are choosing to play Lunalights understand that Lunalights are a good meta call. They understood that this was going to be a good decision. And most people aren't really playing around it. It's just if you obviously have the multiple hand traps, you can stop the deck. I mean, that's kind of the cool thing about having Lunalights be a viable deck, right? Their payoff is basically indestructibility, but you have to slow them down on the ride to the top. And obviously that does end up helping them, or helping you more, and hurts them. Gotta love hand traps doing their job. Crystron Canine still remains probably one of the better decks. Now, the sighting of the Chimera tech has definitely fallen off at this point. We were playing Mega Fleet for a little while, so now Crystron players, congratulations. The one major counter that you has taken a backseat. Now, I will probably see some duelists kind of stepping up to the helm here and probably still playing, especially if you're a localized player, maybe going to a regional sometime soon. I think that will probably be something that you will probably see kind of on the coin flip side of things. But, hey, Crystron still remains a good deck, especially with Inclusion Limited. Konami really did take preemptive measures to try to control that deck's explosibility, and I gotta give it to them. I think they did a really good job at trying to check things. Malice. So, talk about a deck that everybody and their mother has sworn was dead. Now, this thing rose back from the grave like it was nothing, and it still is an incredibly good deck. Now, the problem right now is it's way more fragile than hand traps. Nobody's going to argue that. It's like, and the other good thing is Lancia. Where's Lancia? Lancia disappeared when we needed them most. I think that's been a lot of the success right now with Malice getting off of the ground, is we don't have to worry about any of the stupidness of getting, oh boy, I just got Lancia. Oh, thanks for turn skipping me, Duelist. This game is really, you don't have to worry about, that sort of trade-off. You actually get a lot more stability on the flip side of things. So I will give him some credit there. Malice is still definitely running through the ranks of the top decks. Draco Tail really, really, really has just turned up as one of these better challengers in the current era. And it's because, one, you can splash it with like Branded, which, by the way, Branded has kind of turned into one of the better packages. We did see Shadal being some of the early stages. We've still seen success out here with the Magistus package being incorporated in, but these are all like local level up to regionals. Either way, Draco Tail had some of the biggest attendance numbers for these events. And I think if you're not really respecting what this deck is doing at this point, I think you're gonna have a bad time, man. Fusion decks being able to basically climb up and rip apart the opponent's fields on bouncing is some of the stupidest things that we have seen. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, Chainlink 3, Chainlink 4, offer handshake on resolution. Yummy. Now, Yummy is in an interesting spot. Kind of have this tug-of-war going on in the format, where you've got one side of the equation is, blowing up the field, and then you have a deck whose job is to regurgitate their field. Yummy is definitely the deck that is going to find itself continuously having to rebuild its dominion because it's continuously getting board wiped by, Mitsurugi. But that's fine. That's what the deck does. Obviously, you do have some variance and change that we can kind of incorporate into the deck now. You can test out some of the hybrid variants. It's actually really cool to see that we're finally getting some, built-in combination hybrids with Yummy. So I do like that. And then we have Mitsurugi. Talk about a deck that is just kind of shifting things around. The loss of King of the Feral Imps was a pretty big blow to the Rizal combo hybrid, but when you take a step back, you still have pure Mitsurugi, Fiends with Mitsurugi, people still trying to play Rizal Mitsurugi. It's still there. You have all of the forms of Mitsurugi doing its job. And it's a very scary deck, man. Especially when you can do like the ritual cycle and do the pops, and the deck just comes down to what extra sauce are we playing in the deck to get those results on really the level that we want them. And the answer usually is there's a lot we're able to work with. It just will get the result that we're really looking for. So, Mitsu by far is probably the best deck. But I've also got to mention the Mitsurugi Pendulum Yummy pile that Triff played. This is a good example of seeing the splashability that Mitsurugi and Yummy actually have. I think this is one of the first decks that we've seen. Like, we saw Mitsurugi Yummy coming out of the woodwork, but Triff took it one step further, and so we can just throw all these engines together, and it'll work out. And this is innovation at its finest. Will somebody else not named Triff be able to pilot it and figure it out? It might be a harder journey, but we will have to wait and see. It's truly just the definition of taking the best of all of the worlds and slapping them together to create the strongest monster in the meta. But what do you guys think? Please, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. I'll see your beautiful faces back here later today, guys. Peace.
Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.